As promised, we're going over the early ACC football predictions for 2023. We talked about the top five, but in the middle of the pack, are there some teams that deserve to be in the top five conversation? We'll talk about all of that on today's show.
You are Locked On ACC, your daily podcast on the Atlantic Coast Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's edition of Locked On ACC. I'm your host, Candace Cooper, joined by Kenton Gibbs of Locked On Wolfpack. Each and every day, you can find us wherever you listen to podcasts. Make sure you download, subscribe to our YouTube channel and our audio listens. We love it when you give us feedback, 5-star reviews, and comments at the ready. Today's episode is brought to you by Birddogs. Go to birddogs.com/lockedoncollege, and when you enter promo code LockedOnCollege, they'll throw you a free custom Bird Dog Yeti style tumbler with every order. Have to say, love my Yeti style tumbler. I think it's always good to get you a little cup on the go. Kenton, we promised the people a little early prediction preview. We got into the top five. It took us a whole show just to get through the top five.
Absolutely.
I've heard your comments and reactions and facial expressions are a hit. The people let me know that. Mm-hmm. So I'm very interested to see how you feel about these next group of four.
A hit is an interesting way to put it based on the comments that I've read. You know, I appreciate the generosity there, but let's get into it, right? I'm not here to be light. I'm here to tell you what it is, what it ain't, what it could be, and what it can't.
Well, let's start with the fact that we went over our top five according to Athlon Sports, right? NC State, North Carolina, Clemson, FSU, Cool, and Louisville, which we said, I don't know what the Athlon riders were over there drinking, but it had to be the best of whiskey, okay, out there in Kentucky. Now we're going over 6 through 10, and I argue that some of these could make their way to the top five end of season. You can tell me whether you think so or not.
Let's do it. Let's get into it.
All right. Hitting number 6 for the early ACC football predictions of Athlon Sports. Way too early list here. Duke Blue Devils sitting at number 6. Mike Elko, of course, had a really massive season last year, 9-4 overall after a 3-9 start in 2021. The Blue Devils ain't nothing that you can play about. Riley Leonard. I think Riley Leonard, Drake May is going to be a nice little Duke Carolina tandem. You know, at the ready, we've seen, you know, pass quality, halfway decent quarterbacks at that position or at those schools battle nicely. Duke definitely surprised some people. Their schedule was cupcake according to some, but you got to play who's in front of you. The stars aligned from them in the coastal space. Will they win 9 games this year? Who knows? But I think we have to give a little more respect to what Mike Elko and the boys are doing over there in Durham.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, even I'll say this. I think that I've talked about ad nauseum how their schedule wasn't exactly the toughest and how most coastal teams didn't have a very tough schedule, especially them with some teams that you didn't know were going to be bad, were god-awful, for sure. But even with that being said, like you said, you play who's in front of you. You play who's in front of you. And because of that, I'm looking at this team and I'm saying to myself, this next year of who's in front of them, it squares away fairly similarly. And so I think that they'll be okay. I think that this is a situation where Duke at 6 fits. Duke at 6 fits, and they could even slide into the top 5.
So do you think that they are not only a top 5 team in the ACC, but argue the conversation of squeaking into 1-2 could be an ACC championship, or that's aggressive?
That's very aggressive. That is extremely aggressive.
You said,
for
for those who don't know, who haven't listened to the show, when I said that they would win 6, Drizzy Drake and Kenton looked at me like I had 3 heads. Lo and behold, they won 6+. And I won $300 out the group. Now I'm saying they're going to win at least 7, possibly 8. I don't know where we landed on the money of the re-up yet, but we can revisit that. It's only
again, if you want to bet on this team winning 8, I'll put whatever with it. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, when you look at most of these teams, sure, you expected some of these to be wins. Some of them, there was no way. There was no way to know, oh, Northwestern's going to be a 2-win team next year. oh yeah, you're gonna be sitting up here and looking at some teams that are Boston College is gonna be god awful. Oh, these teams are all gonna be terrible. There was no way of knowing that.
But why is it always Duke's had to have opponents that were bad instead of Duke actually being good?
Okay, and that's fair. That's a very fair point. Can you tell me which Power 5 team with a winning record Duke beat last year?
Why do we always have to do these games? I don't like that.
I'm just asking a question. Can you tell me the Power 5 team with a winning record that Duke beat last year? Because there was one, but there was exactly one.
Tell me it. I don't like games or quizzes.
Come on, just take a guess.
I ain't
take
running the schedule back.
Okay, well, it was the Wake Forest Demon Deacons, one of your alma maters.
Okay.
The only Power 5 team with a winning record that they beat. Everybody else was 500 or losing record.
You know, you got to play who's in front of you. Maybe Duke will put up keep punching up above their weight class, and we'll just, be more excited about the 8 wins that are coming. I got to pray on 8 because I don't know if 8's a little aggressive, and I don't know if I want to lose my money like that. But I definitely feel like they could potentially a top 5 program here in the ACC. Number 7, the Pitt Panthers finished with a 5-game winning streak. And listen, they have included 20 overall wins with a ACC title back in 2021 and a bowl victory over UCLA. I think that the loss of Kalaji Cansey, Servassier Dennis, Habakkuk Baldando, and Izzy, is going to be hard to replace. But thankfully, we're starting out in a good foot by replacing Keaton Slovis with Phil Dracovic.
So the question is, which version of Phil are we going to get? It's a very similar question to that which you're asking NC State in terms of which version of Brennan Armstrong are you going to get? Which version of Phil Jerkovich are you going to get? The only difference is Phil Jerkovich, for the most part, in terms of head coach
Jerkovic.
Mm-hmm. In terms of head coach, in terms of assistants, and I believe his offensive coordinator didn't leave either. In terms of receiver number 1 was Zay Flowers. He had a little bit more in place there, but his offensive line was god awful. I mean, I ain't played football in quite some time. I ain't put that helmet and shoulder pads on in years, and I know if me and you ran the text game against that offensive line, we'd get us a couple sacks. For those of you who know what a text game is, great job. I'm glad you're listening to this podcast. But with that being said, it's going to be a situation of how good is Phil and how well can they replace Izzy? Because one man's showing that backfield.
Well, Phil could be, hear me clear, Phil could be a Kenny Pickett year 5.
I think that's aggressive. I think that's very aggressive.
And you don't bang with Kenny, so like
because
for you to say that's aggressive,
And here's the thing. While I did not believe that Kenny Pickett should have been a first-round draft pick, I would acknowledge he was a great college player at the end of his career. Like those two things are not necessarily congruent, and that's the objective truth. At the end of his career, he was doing it. He was put the team on my back. I'll figure it out.
Slick back man, absolutely.
Yeah, he was getting it in. I don't think that I see that level out of Phil Dracovic, which again, if he does play at that level, then Pitt will easily be in this top 5, and potentially that's a team. If Phil is rolling at that type of clip, if Phil is rolling at a Kenny Pickett year 5 type clip, they'll be an ACC championship.
Ooh, and Rodney Hammond is trying to replace Izzy. Just saying. He needs to have.
And
a
he's
big
been
year.
around for some time, hasn't he? He's been around for 3 years now?
He's a veteran. Yeah, he's certainly a veteran.
I like him. He's explosive. He's shifty. He can do things in space. I like him. I'm not sure he's Izzy.
Nobody's Izzy. Let's keep that a band. We said free Izzy so many times when Pitt was having a down year. So like we put Izzy up here with the Sean Tuckers of the world. Like we just
no. Sean Tucker is up there with the Izzies of the world based upon last year. Now, if you go full career, then yes, Izzy needs to get up there with Sean Tucker. But if you just take last year, Sean Tucker needs to get up there with Izzy.
Sean did everything he could for that program.
He did. He was fighting for his life. When Gary
went down, his life he had to fight.
When Schrader went down, that boy was fighting for his life. But
Okay. Anyway, I think overall Pitt could definitely be in top 5 conversation. It's going to take a lot for them to be top 2 when it comes to who's going to be the ACC. As a reminder, there is no Atlantic and Coastal divisions for those who don't know. So you gotta earn your keep this year. Okay. Number 8, which our comments are about to be insane. Bama Kane, please don't run up in here. The Miami Hurricanes.
Come on, Bama Kane. Come on with it. Come on with it. Because we're going to get into your team. We're going to get into your boys right now. We're going to get into it.
Number 8, high expectations, per usual. Mario Cristobal and the boys out in Coral Gables are sitting at number 8, trying to be in the top 5 and maybe the top 2. Tyler Van Dyke is returning. They don't have 10 quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying? They definitely are trying to be a smooth sailing type of unit. We shall see.
Well,
top 5?
I'm going to tell you this.
Okay.
Of all the teams that we're talking about has the potential and what they could do, Miami has the best collection of individual players. One of the best collections of individual players in this conference, period. Bar none.
When has that been new?
However, and I was just about to say, however, there's something about them putting it together. There's something about this team. Every year, they have first rounder after first rounder after first rounder. They have ball players after ball player after ball player in the year. Because let me not say first rounders. I know somebody's going to come in. Actually, there hasn't been a first rounder. They have ball players on ball players on ball players that win all conference. They do all the things. But when it comes to piecing it together and making everything mesh and gel, it's just like something goes off the wheel. Something just goes off the tracks with this team.
Well, Kenton. De'Aaron King was supposed to be the answer. But when he got hurt.
When he was healthy, he was the answer.
But when he had to try and come back within, 9 months, it was like, all right, it was all she wrote.
But can I say something? And I need to. Why do Florida teams keep playing Bama?
What do you mean?
Why? Every time a Florida team plays Alabama, their whole season is cooked. That whole season, throw it in the trash. It's not going to be what you thought it was. Yeah. You know, when Florida State did it, them boys got their whole program erased. Jimbo said, I ain't doing this no more. I'm out of here. We got to go.
Rally the troops.
It was the beginning of the end for Manny, essentially.
We got to stop putting ourselves. We're embarrassing the unit. And by unit, I mean ACC.
In the words of Eric Mays, you have got to stop doing that. You have got to stop doing that because, man, it's a problem. But I'll tell you this much.
You ought to be shamed for that. You ought to be shamed.
We love some Eric May.
Break the fourth wall. You ought to be shamed. That's your uncle.
That's my uncle.
Everybody, I want everyone to know, dead serious, Kenton is from Detroit, Michigan. And I promise y'all that Mr. Mays is his real life uncle.
Eric Mays is not my real uncle.
He
Do not start that lie. Do not start that lie. Eric Mays is not my uncle.
No, dead set. Y'all, that is his uncle for real. Don't let him tell you otherwise. If you can't see it now, based on his reactions and commentary, I'm so glad it's all coming together for y'all. Now you see where he gets the crazy from.
Eric Mays is not.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Candace just feels like I react very similarly to him.
No. If you're gonna sit here, you told everyone that lie when you were cracking jokes in the group chat. So now that's your uncle.
That's not my uncle, and I acknowledged in the group chat that's not actually my uncle. So
that is your blood uncle. But go ahead.
Anywho, back inside the fourth wall now.
Okay.
This Miami team, we're looking at a very interesting situation here.
Yeah.
We're looking at a Miami team that if they can piece together, if they can make all of these really great players that they have as individuals, they're one of the teams that have the highest amount of predicted first rounders going into next year. Right? They've got a tackle that's supposed to be a first rounder, a safety that's potentially a first rounder, actually 2 safeties that are potentially first rounders. They have a ton of guys. You talk about Tyler Van Dyke and his best friend being wide receiver number 1. You talk about a team that overall has so much talent. So much talent.
They're the Avengers.
Some of the defensive line for Miami the defensive line is it's rarely a problem with Miami. It's rarely a problem. And they have talent, experience, and depth this year. I'm just saying, if this team can pull it together, if they can make all those great pieces mesh into something, this could be a special year for them.
They could be top 2 and not 2. All right. I ain't going to hold y'all. When it comes to looking fresh to death, it's summertime, and I like to look the best that I can between fit, comfort, and versatility. Bird Dog has gotten me right. I look better and feel great when I'm wearing my Bird Dog. I mean, it is legitimately comfortable, and I'm not even going to hold y'all. We understand that this is how we pay our bills, but I put them jokers on and I said, do I even have shorts on? I was feeling real free. So whenever you want to, enjoy an evening of just feeling comfort, whether you're going out, whether you're staying in, whether you're just relaxing, whether you're turning up, strongly suggest you get a part of our Bird Dog family and make sure that you tell them that Locked On ACC sent you. You go to birddogs.com/lockedoncollege, enter promo code LockedOnCollege. They'll throw in a free custom Bird Dogs Yeti style tumbler with every order. All right, guys, we got to talk about Miami. We got to talk about Pitt. We had to talk about our boys in Duke Blue, but now it's time to switch gears to the number 9 team on the Athlon early ACC football predictions list for 2023. Sitting at number 9, like Kenton mentioned, still is my alma mater, Wake Forest. Dave Clawson, arguably one of the best coaches, if not the best coach here in our conference. Team knows how to play flawlessly, have lost some really good ones to the NFL, but they also have some really good returners in Taylor Morin and Mr. Mitch Griffiths at quarterback. A lot of questions to ask. We know that Sam Hartman is not coming walking through that door, nor A.T. Perry, but I think that there's still a lot to be said about this Wake Forest team. Are they a reload team?
Yes. I'm sorry. No, they're a rebuild team. No, okay. I apologize. They're a rebuild team. They're not a reload team. I thought you said, are they a rebuild team? No, this team is not a reload team. With all due respect to Dave Clawson and all that good stuff, this team has.
You said that with such fervor.
Yeah, because it's not hated for me. It's Dave. Dave Clawson is an excellent coach, but his coaching works in a way that you kind of take some time and build up to like, okay, when y'all are seniors, you're going to be, then we're going to take a little dip. And then when that class is then we take a little dip and so on and so forth.
Are they still a cyclical team? I'd argue that they are up and up with being halfway, on the up and up every year.
I mean, that could be argued.
I think this would be the first year where we really see it because Sam Hartman ain't in his 12th year at, college.
Yeah, well, not only do you not have Sam Hartman, you lost a ton of other talent outside of him. I mean,
casual A.T. Perry, Donovan Green, Jamal Brooks,
Yeah, that's you can make it as casual as you want to, but this is business attire only. You'll get turned away at the door. This is a reality that this Wake Forest team, as much as Dave Clawson is beloved and as much as people respect him and respect the long mesh and respect all the things that he does with that program and the players being very disciplined and all that, shout out to him. More power to him, right?
Yeah.
But at some point, you need the players. You need some ball players that can get it done, and I don't think they have that.
Do you ever see them moving away from that system in order to help elevate and bring guys, especially in this new transfer portal NIL era, enticing guys to want to come to their school? Do you ever see them moving away from that system?
Absolutely not. Their academic rigor is too tough. It's legitimately just too hard. Like all of those schools with great academic rigor, you're looking at a tough time in terms of getting in the best players and whatnot. And even beyond that, they need to upgrade those facilities a little bit, right? Like they need to upgrade that field a little bit in order to have that conversation of bringing in really good players. Because what's the maximum capacity of their field? What is it, 20, 15, somewhere in there? What's the maximum capacity?
I think it's a 30,000 stadium.
Oh, okay. Well,
30 plus. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, it doesn't look.
It might be more. I mean, just because it don't fill out, don't mean it not. Come on, Kenton, don't.
But that's the other part of it, right? Like Anywho, long story short, this is a rebuild year for them, and that's okay. This is a great place for them to be actually for a rebuild year. And I'll tell you this: when it comes to overperforming what's expected of them, Dave Clawson is public enemy number one. He is the usual suspect in. It don't matter how much you expect from them; they're always going to get a little over it. So we'll see.
31,000 to be exact.
31,000. Okay. Good.
Winston-Salem isn't a sexy city. I ain't gonna hold you, but I've been there, done that, and they make it work. It's
actually not a bad town. It's not bad. It's not. It's not
a bad town. My point being, like when you're the draw and appeal, I'd rather go to XYZ, Miami, versus Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Not gonna hold anybody,
What?
North Carolina girl.
What? You would rather go to
Crazy.
Coral Gables than Winston-Salem, North Carolina?
Crazy. I'd rather go to Winston-Salem than Syracuse, which is our number 10 on the list and last team to talk about. Kenton's favorite, Coach Dino Babers and the boys.
I'm gonna tell you.
The Fighting Babers.
I'm gonna tell you.
Here we go.
If Garrett Schrader has a year like what he had last year, and he doesn't get hurt, this team could greatly outperform this. I'm not sure if Garrett Schrader has another one of those in him. I'm not sure, but it's possible.
Do you think this is the last time he could punch above his weight?
It's possible though, because he has some weapons. I mean, Oronde Gadsden, while everybody considers him a tight end, that boy's a big slot receiver, and he's good at it. He's so good. He's the young man. He is a guy that knows body control amazingly for a guy at his size. Normally, when you
like an AJ Green, tall and lanky,
something in that area, right? He's not quite as fast as AJ Green was, and all that good stuff. Not quite as fluid of an athlete, but that's why you line him up in the slot.
Well, that sounds like a terrible comparison, Kenton.
I mean, I'm saying he's tall. He can high point the ball. He has great body control. Those are the things that are AJ Green. Oh, and those highlight catches they're not like a new thing to him. Like he's been doing it. So that's where the comparison to AJ Green comes from. But you're the one who said like AJ Green, by the way.
No, I did say that, but I'm like, if I was wrong, you could have just said like, nah, more so this person. You know what I'm saying? Like,
anywho, the man is a ball player. He gets it done. And that defense, like I said, very unorthodox, always gives folks problems. And that secondary as well, even with losing one of the best corners in the game off of last year's team. Yeah, that corner theirs went to the league. So
Garrett Williams,
yes, Williams went to the league. After losing one of the best corners in the game last year, I still think that I don't know how they do it, but Syracuse defensive backfield is always in a reload situation. Like that's so interesting to me because that's the one position group where they're like, don't matter who you take out of here, we got somebody else ready.
I think everything about Syracuse surprises you. Like
this team could be special, but they could also be 10 or worse. They could also be 10 or worse. Like I wouldn't be surprised.
Babers makes it through the season.
That's not a bet I'd be willing to take. That's not a bet I'd be willing to take. Just being quite honest.
I bet he makes it through the season, and I bet they get top 7 when it comes to ACC.
Okay, well, more power to you. More power to you.
You want to put money up?
You
want to put money up?
There's too many just loose variables about this team for me to say.
Moolah, baby, moolah.
Anywho, there's too many loose variables about this team for me to fully commit one way or the other to like, hey, I know what this team will be or whatever the case is. Yeah, that's just not a good idea for me. But I think that this team has the potential to do some good things. Like I think that they have a higher ceiling than Wake Forest, but I think they also have a lower floor.
Okay. I think that the remnants of being in the Atlantic Division definitely doesn't help certain teams like Syracuse, but it'll be interesting to see with this no divisions how it all pans itself out. I will say of this list, I feel most confident in, like I would put Louisville in this group of 5. You know what I'm saying? Like I think Louisville would fit nicely in that. We don't really know, but y'all shooting if y'all shoot at a high clip, y'all could be amazing, but they're just way more unpredictable to me than a Duke. They're way more unpredictable to me than a Syracuse, but here we are. This is what we have before us, and we'll go from there. We're not quite done though, right? Let's keep it a buck.
Absolutely.
We have a couple more teams that have been given the cold shoulder by us because we still have to do their schedule review. You have to have somebody towards the bottom, but in positive news, glass half full type energy, there have been teams that have been sitting at the bottom who have pleasantly surprised us.
Oh, of course. These are all predictions. At the end of the day, these are all predictions. And I know somebody is going to come back and say, oh, look, y'all were wrong about this team. Y'all don't know nothing. We give our most educated prediction of the future based upon a wide myriad of things for each person individually. Me personally, the best predictor of future behaviors is the past. And I look at what have you done in terms of what have your players as a unit done. And guess what? The future is always being written. You can always have a time or a situation where you become something different or better than what everybody thought you were. Like, that's just not impossible.
So the 4 Syracuse fans who are going to yell at us at the beginning of the season once, Syracuse goes 3-0, right? The 5 Wake Forest fans who are going to be up our tail when we, talk about the turnaround and all the things, and we're not acknowledging them. It's, the rest of the list, I think the 11 through 14 are probably going to be on our heads. But I think the craziest group is going to be Louisville, because y'all doubted us. We couldn't be a top 5 program, blah, blah, blah. So,
I mean, hey, I'm excited for it. I'm a very firm believer in, if I'm wrong, tell me. I have my opinions. I have my beliefs until I have new information that leads me to believe otherwise. I was not very high on Florida State at the end of last year until I took another look at their roster, and I took another look at what they got coming up this year, and I said, hold on.
Boy, don't you tell no tale on the end of this show, because you know full well you still not very high on them. Now, don't play that.
I'm high enough to say that they could potentially be ACC champs, and I said that their ceiling is the college football playoff.
First of all, don't scream at me. Second of all, you definitely might be high on something, because you certainly don't believe in Florida State the way.
I don't believe in Norvell at a high level. I don't, but I believe that they have a compilation of players that is ridiculous. Like Miami has.
So does Miami. Yeah.
Miami has really good players. What Florida State has is crazy. Like, that is legitimately insane.
Would you rather have Norvell or Cristobal?
I'd say. I'd say this is tough. Cristobal hasn't had enough time to fully show what he can do yet.
He's been a head coach before.
But I was just about to say, he's been a head coach elsewhere, and he did some good things with Oregon, which is another Power 5 school.
He didn't develop that quarterback, apparently.
Well, okay. It's really a push.
Mike or Mario.
It's really a push, but if I gotta take one, if I'm forced to have one of these as my head coach, give me Mario. If I'm forced to take one as my head coach, give me Mario. If I'm forced to.
Ooh, you just love it.
But again,
that's our poll, just so you know.
Mike has immensely better players than Mario. Mike has immensely better players.
How do you say that after just saying Miami has first rounders and guys that are going to the league?
Guys who are predicted to be first rounders. We've seen this tale play out before. And also, so does Florida State. Florida State was one of those teams that was up there too in terms of predicted first rounders. We all know Jared Verse is going somewhere in somebody's top, at worst, 8, 9, unless he has
I don't feel like arguing about Florida State guys, because you already know how that gets.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I mean, these boys followed me for the whole season to make sure I saw tape of the boy throwing it down the sideline. Okay.
That's fair.
I ain't saying nothing about Jordan Travis for Heisman. You hear me? Jordan Travis for Heisman. So I repeat it.
Absolutely.
Either way it goes, we heard it here. You rather have Mario than Mike. So I would love that to be a poll question. Would y'all rather have Mario or Mike? Or would you rather have your team's head coach rocking with Mike Elko, rocking with Dave Clawson, rocking with Dino Babers? I want to see and hear your lovely predictions of who you're rocking with this season in terms of ACC. Do you feel like any of the 6 through 10 teams should be in the top 5? I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments in our YouTube section. And you can always hit us up at Locked On ACC and give us your feedback there. For Candace Cooper and Kenton Gibbs, though, we got to get out of here. We're going to give you the 11 through 14 tomorrow. We're going to make sure that you're locked, loaded, and ready to go for the long Memorial Day weekend. Until next time.